Hey everybody, welcome once again to the Dino and Dino Youngstown Studio podcast show on a Monday, January 19th, 2026 at 3 o'clock p.m. on Youngstown Studio Facebook page and YouTube channel as well with our special guest today, Mr. Mike Pollock.
All right, Mike. Hey, let's
Thank
get
you
Mike.
so much. Thanks for having
First,
me.
first of all, Mike, it is freezing here, and we're in Youngstown, Ohio, and the temperature is 15 degrees with a wind chill of about 5 below zero.
It's a good thing you're inside.
Where are you
It's,
at? Where are you at, Mike?
I'm in nearby New York where it is 31 degrees.
31. Well,
Ah.
we hope it stays that way. It's freezing here.
Thank
We're supposed to. They're closing schools here, and
As they should.
tomorrow they're anticipating a wind chill tomorrow of about 5 below tonight, and so they're closing some schools. But anyways, we want you to stay warm but we're in the studio here in Youngstown, Ohio,
Excellent.
and we'll give you a little background about us first. I know you're friends with my son Dino
On
on
Facebook.
Facebook. You've met you guys. When did you guys meet?
I met on Facebook, but we never met at a Comic Con before.
Oh, okay, but you guys communicated on Facebook through animation and voice acting.
Mhm.
Sure.
And we've this is our 15th year. This is Youngstown Studio, which is a podcast,
Mhm.
but we do a show called
Golden String Radio.
which is an internet radio station run by adults with disabilities, and we're part of that. And
Excellent.
we've been doing that for 15 years now, and we're lucky that Mr. Joe Danier and BJ here have let us come in and do some podcast shows, live shows. And you are our first celebrity guest
of
for
2026.
So
I'm
we're
honored.
glad to have you on our show.
Thank you.
This is about our 8th or 9th show,
Cool.
and we're just glad to have you on. So
Glad to be here.
let's talk a little bit about. Well, I know Dino loves animation. That's
Okay.
how you guys kind of connected through the years with animation and voice acting. That's why we got our little Sonic thing set up here. I don't know if you can see some of
Nice.
this stuff here.
I can. Some of that looks very familiar.
Yeah, that's your guy there, Mr. Eggman, right, Dean?
Or
Yeah.
Robotnik, wherever you want to call
Dr.
Mhm.
Robotnik. Yeah. So, but let's talk about how you got into how you got into this first. Let's go back to your childhood. Can we do that? Go back to
Sure.
see how you grew up, and some of the things like the cartoons that turned you on to say, like, what were your childhood cartoon? But let's start with, where you grew up, where you went to school, and then what you had to be watching cartoons to make you say, "Hey, I want to do this."
Mhm.
So let's start with that, Mike.
Absolutely. I'm a child of the 70s, born in 1965, making me 60 now. Happy birthday soon to me.
Uh-huh.
And I grew up in Roslyn, Long Island. Roslyn High School was my high
There
school.
you go. Yeah.
um, conveniently wardrobed.
Yes,
And as a kid, fairly standard upbringing. Saturday morning cartoons, a big part of life. So we're the weekday afternoon cartoons after school, and I think some cartoons before school. But radio also played a big role in my life because I was a big radio fan, still am, of what's left of radio.
You're right.
So there are a couple of guys on the radio that did a lot of voice work. Gene Clavin, if you can Google him, doesn't have a big archive presence on YouTube, but there's a video or two, and you can just hear he would sit and do characters with himself, ad-libbed in the studio, which was pretty difficult, but that was his thing. But on TV, I was watching Rocky and Bullwinkle, a particular favorite. In high school, I got a chance to call the entire living cast of the Rocky and Bullwinkle show. So I have recordings of me for a college radio show that I was on while I was in high school, talking to Bill Scott, June Foray, and Paul Frees.
June
which
Foray,
was
yes.
Awesome.
Legendary. Legends.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been nicer. And as a kid, loved radio, loved theater. So when it came time to get through college and pick a career, started in radio because radio seemed a little more secure than theater, because theater jobs are notoriously short-lived. And as it turns out, when I got into radio careers turned out to be fairly short-lived too. So I bounced around from radio station to radio station, which is what one does in radio. And eventually, when radio kicked me to the curb, finally, I was able to build a demo reel out of some of the commercial stuff that I've done and the other character work. shopped it around, and anime studios liked it. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Awesome.
So what year are we talking would be your first, like, with this video tape that you made? You made a tape, right, of
Mhm.
your, and then what year is this would be, you think? Do you
That
remember?
would have been right around the turn of the century, so about 2000. Um,
Okay.
I was laid off from my most recent radio job, and so I was idle for several months, and I was able to sneak back into the radio facility, build a demo tape, and that would have been right around 2000, 2001.
2000.
When you did
Yeah.
radio, was it music, talk show, sports? What kind of what kind of radio were you doing?
A lot of production stuff. So I was making commercials for on air, but also I did adult contemporary news talk kind of things, and I was an adult contemporary overnight DJ for a while. I filled in on the news talk station on middays, and then ultimately became a production director in Rochester, New York, for a year.
You weren't
Mm.
using the turntables, were you, with the vinyl? Were you using
We had
those?
them. Yeah, most of our stuff was on tape cartridges, but there
Yeah,
were turntables in the studio for if we needed something.
I'm a fan of the vinyl. Are you a fan of vinyl? I love vinyl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
occasionally. I'm not actively using vinyl, but if there was vinyl in front of me, I'd be using it.
Right.
Awesome.
So then you left radio,
Mhm.
and then you started to get some jobs in voice acting or voice. Okay. So tell us
I
a little
dabbled.
bit about that.
Sure. I dabbled in freelance stuff when I was in radio. There was the wonderful thing called a talent fee. If you booked a job, if you were recording commercials on the radio station, your own radio station, no extra fee because you're already being paid to be there. But if the commercial you recorded went out of the station to any of the other radio stations in town, you got a small talent fee. I got addicted to that because food, clothing, and shelter not free, and I was able to shop that talent around and do a lot of local commercials. And then the first video piece that I did, which I have it somewhere here, but the room was just tidied up, so I don't have it handy.
Okay.
But you can look for it. Little Tug's Big Adventure, recorded in some guy's house. I played all the male voices to live action footage of boats in New York Harbor. And that went out on VHS. People in school libraries really liked it. Kind of not really available. It might be on YouTube, possibly a bootleg copy, but that was the first real outside paying gig. And then when the big layoff happened, anime studios. First real live anime I did was for NYAV Post, still going, was Demon Fighter Kocho. Very early in the, or at least in my anime dubbing career. And then a whole bunch of stuff. I fell into a lucky audition with 4Kids TV. Started with Pokemon, and then when 4Kids TV became a thing, they remembered me, so I started doing promos. I did Kirby Right Back At Ya. I did Ultimate Muscle, the Kinnikuman Legacy, and eventually Sonic X came by. The same people who produced Kirby did Sonic X. They remembered my work. They said, "We want you to be in this. Come audition." I auditioned several times, 3 rounds of callbacks, and then that booked Dr. Eggman, and then all that networking within 4Kids and then beyond. Got agents, got training.
When you mentioned the boats, do you remember a show called Theodore Tugboat? I don't know if you. No, you don't remember that. That
It was on PBS.
It was on PBS
in the 90s.
Okay.
It was
It was kind of like a Thomas the Tank Engine.
It was kind of like a Thomas the Tank Engine, but it was a tugboat.
It was a tugboat.
And he talked. I don't know if it was a PBS show.
PBS show.
Yeah, okay. So, anyways, that was when you mentioned that you did voices of boats and stuff. I thought you might have known that show.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, no relation, but I'm sure it was fantastic.
No relation to that. But let's fast forward to when you got the job for Sonic, because Dino was telling me who had the voice.
Originally, Jim Cummings had the voice in the 90s. You ever watch the old ones from the 90s, like
little
Sonic
bits of it? Stumbled upon it. Yeah. The mantle that I carry has many performers have worn the mantle before me.
Right.
Awesome. Awesome.
So let's talk to us how you got the job as the Sonic
Dr.
Dr.
Eggman.
Robotnik.
Is it Robotnik or Eggman they call him today?
The scripts that I've seen have always said Eggman. He's been referenced as Robotnik in a couple of games, but the scripts that I got ever since Sonic X when I started always said Eggman.
He's
Okay.
right there. You see him right there somewhere?
Right here.
There he is.
Right
There he is right there. And we got him on some old comic books there too. If you can see these.
That's the first Zero issue.
There he is there. And
Mhm.
there's Dr. Robotnik there somewhere on this Sonic.
That's the 90s comics.
Yeah.
Classic ones.
And then we
classic
got
design.
and you're probably on these. Are you on these?
On Sonic Generations.
You're on these?
Absolutely.
This is you.
Yeah.
So when you buy this,
you hear Dr. Eggman on the game.
well, you're hearing Mike. This is Mike's voice.
That's right.
Mhm.
And how about this collection right here? This one, this
Sonic
is you?
Mega Collection.
This is you too?
Parts of me in there, but I think that's older.
This
That
is
might
an older
be-
one.
Yeah, that's an older one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But this is the one with Mike.
Sonic Generations.
Sonic
That's a good game.
Mhm.
Tell us how did you have to audition for this role, or how did this come about?
Yeah, I had been doing stuff at 4Kids, and I had been doing Kirby Right Back at You, where I played the mayor, Samo the bartender, a bunch of other characters, and the producer of that, Michael Hagney, who's among the original voices of some of Pokemon characters, was also producing Kirby and producing Sonic X. We were actually called in, the entire voice roster of 4Kids was called in for a super secret all hands meeting, which never happened. Not even sure why it happened to this day. But among the things they discussed was, we have a new property coming. It's called Project X is the code name. And it turned out to be Sonic X. I didn't know anything about it. Okay, sounds great. And then shortly thereafter, I was invited to audition. I was given clips of Dean Bristow, who was the previous voice for the games, and at the time the current voice, and said, match this guy. So I got the clips, and I was doing the voice, and I said, okay, I guess I'm doing this voice. This will be my Dean Bristow voice. Rah, 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 rah. Went in, did my audition. I'm Dean Bristow. I didn't say I'm Dean Bristow. I wasn't, but I was doing the Dean Bristow voice. And I had an audition, came back for a callback, came back for a second callback, and apparently the third time was the charm. And they said at that point, yeah, you'll do. And they have been kind enough to keep inviting me back. In fact, Generations was among the first games when the franchise left the hands of 4Kids and went directly to Sega. They were kind enough to invite me to audition, which was very bizarre. But I auditioned, re-auditioned, did the same thing I had been doing, and they liked me again. So they're having me back.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell us, like on these games, how do you voice a game? What is the procedure in voicing a game? Do you go in with a script, or you look at the video? Is the video?
There's no video. There might be some reference imagery, but generally in the earlier games there was some video because we were matching the Japanese voices. They came in first, and we would dub over them. But since 2010 and Colors and Generations and that era, it has been English first. So we will go in and record our stuff. I get a spreadsheet, usually broken out so that's all of my lines. And then the director is there to make sure that I know the context, so that when I'm saying what's in front of me, I know what would have come before and what will come after, so that it all meshes together in a nice little jigsaw puzzle of voice work. And then they do a whole bunch of stuff behind the scenes after I've gone and turn it into a game.
Awesome.
Are you by yourself, or are you with the Sonic character's voice actor, or are you by yourself, or how does that work too?
For most games, we record separately. There were a couple of recent exceptions. The Sonic Boom games, Sonic Boom Fire and Ice and Rise of Lyric, were both done ensemble style because they were based on the cartoon, the Sonic Boom cartoon, and we were recording that ensemble style. And they decided that worked so well that we had the rare opportunity to all get together and record our little cutscenes, the little dramatic vignettes in between all together, which was really cool. And an interesting footnote, because I'm usually in New York and they're all in LA, I would record remotely, even before the pandemic, when we're all pretty much recording remotely now. But I would be in a New York studio, everyone else would be in an LA studio. We'd be on headphones, basically talking over Zoom and interacting in real time, but in many different locations. So that's fantastic. But these days for games, I get a spreadsheet and it's me and the director, engineer, and a whole bunch of producing people saying, no, this is what we want. We want this. They argue with fighting with each other. But it's usually one actor at a time versus
Awesome.
the production team.
Who were the actors, like the characters? Like tell me some like who are these characters? Like
that's Sonic.
Who is Sonic's voice?
That's
that did on the game?
I think it's his name is it used to be Jason Griffith, and then Mike Drummond, and then Roger Craig Smith, I think his name is.
Roger Craig Smith since the 2010.
And who's the current voice actor right now?
Currently, it is Roger Craig Smith, as far as I know. Who knows what the future holds?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then in the film,
who are some of the other voice characters in Sonic?
Let's see. Our current cast: we have Roger, we have Colleen O'Shaughnessy as Tails, we have Dave B. Mitchell as Knuckles, and we have Cindy Robinson as Amy. And then ably assisted by, if the Eggman's robot assistants appear, we have Kirk Thornton, who is one of the robots, as well as Shadow and Wally Wingert, who occasionally comes in and does some stuff.
Awesome.
We have last year we had Rob Paulson on our podcast, and his son Ash Paulson
is like he runs
some kind of a video game. Are you familiar with Ash Paulson?
I believe we're friends on Facebook still. I'll have to check.
Okay.
Yeah, he runs some kind of a video.
He runs a video game company or something.
Video game company. Are you familiar with Ash or?
Only from our Facebook interactions, but I have to check. I would have to go and see if we're still friends.
All right.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, Mike, we have Dino's got some Facebook friends that are listening, and we're gonna invite them to come on. And if they have questions for Mike,
please.
In fact, we have one right here. This is from Country R3602. He or she says, Mike, which voice actors influenced you to become a voice actor?
Well, I mentioned the cast of Rocky and Bullwinkle. They are definitely high up there. Mel Blanc, you have to say Mel Blanc, because who's not a fan of Mel Blanc? On a side note, I want to go with Stan Freberg, who did some cartoon work, but he also did a whole bunch of full cast comedy albums back in the late 60s, early 70s. He was a legend just because of the actors he hired and their brilliant deliveries. And again, I mentioned from radio, Gene Clavin from radio. So obscure, deep cuts of the voice acting world, but those were my people.
Well, that's good. That's
pretty cool.
Well, we have. If anyone has a question for Mike, we have a
chat in the.
We have a chat here on the side here, and we're going to bring up questions for Mike. We have our friend Melina from Russia. She's listening. We have
Christina from Ireland.
She says Sonic would make an awesome tattoo. That's what Christina.
She loves tattoos.
That's been done.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Where is it? Where is it? Sonic would make a great tattoo. There it is, right there.
There it goes.
Christina says Sonic would make an awesome tattoo.
I agree.
Let's see if we have any other questions.
Cassandra says, I have a question. Can you please acting is different than the animation, the voice acting, she says.
It's all different and all the same. I'll give you some acting differences in a nutshell. For example, we did Sonic Boom, very much like a radio play. I'm referencing old time radio, which if you're my age, you know what that is. If you don't, Google it later. But basically, it's a play that with a beginning, middle, and an end. Just like if you're watching a play on a stage in a theater, it's a very linear. The story goes from beginning to end, or whichever direction you prefer. With video games, it's a lot more fragmented, because while I'm recording in a larger context of a dramatic scene, everything's broken up line by line. So I'll do a line of dialogue. If they like it, great, we move on to the next one. The engineer labels it, puts it away in a file, then all the files get assembled into a video game. And then there's also dubbing, which is kind of a hybrid of the two. The first one I mentioned is prelay, where you've got a full script and you're recording before any animation is done, and then they animate to your voice. With dubbing, kind of the opposite. Somebody, usually in a language that is not English in my case, will have recorded something. Could be a Japanese anime, could be something in French or Russian or any other language. And some adapter has adapted the script, translated it, turned it into English words that not only make sense but fit the lip flap, which is pretty much what you're focusing on when you're doing a dub. And then the engineer and director and I will meticulously go line by line, making sure that the flaps kind of match when I'm talking. And if they don't match, the engineer does a little squeezing, a little stretching, makes everything fit, hits it with a hammer, and everything works out. That turns into a dub.
Awesome.
That's a good answer there for that one, right?
That's a
Bring
good
up Haley had a
I think
question.
Haley had a question here. Let me see if I
our
can
friend
find
Haley
it.
from Delaware.
Haley had a question?
Yeah, there it is. Back up.
Which one is it? She says, "Hi, everybody." Let's see.
Well, it was more of a comment than a question.
Haley says, "Love his voiceover work on Robotnik / Eggman."
Yeah, she loves your voice.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Love you back.
That's our friend Haley from Delaware.
Mhm.
Excellent.
And,
Thank you, Haley.
okay, so let's fast forward to some of your other roles that you've done. I'm reading here about Berserk.
Berserk, very popular.
What character did you play in Berserk?
I was Lord Adon. He was in the original release and then came back later for a sequel. A lot of people will note similarities to Adon's voice and Eggman's voice, and I'd love to point out Adon came first. I booked Lord Adon before Dr. Eggman was even a blip on my radar. So the voice, I guess Eggman's voice, which started as Dean Bristow through modifications from the director and the engineer and the producer, became less Dean Bristow and more of the voice that ended up settling in the same place as Adon's. So people will hear them both and say, that's the same voice. In a way, wasn't intentional.
Yes.
Awesome.
How about the Pokemon series? What characters were those?
I was possibly most notably the interim narrator. The original narrator, Roger Parsons, took a bit of a break. I came in, filled in, did the narration for a couple of years, and Roger came back. Between those times, I was also various Pokemon. My first role, in fact, my introduction to 4Kids was in an episode of Pokemon where I played a pigeon courier service proprietor. And that led to 4Kids remembering me for all the 4Kids TV / Foxbox stuff. Actually, it's wrong answer. Foxbox first, then 4Kids TV. Wrong order.
Awesome.
So that was definitely a high point. Is that launched the entire 4Kids career for me. But I was also various Pokemon. I was Hippowdon. I was Shuckle. I was Volcanion in the Volcanion film. A whole bunch of stuff. The great thing about Pokemon is,
with all those characters, is it hard to change? Like you say, you don't want them to sound like the character Dr. Robotnik to sounding like the other character. You know what I mean? How do you change your voice to say, I don't want this to sound the same as how do you do that?
Fortunately, I'm gifted with a rather flexible vocal tract, so I can do not only the big voices of Dr. Eggman, but the sort of elderly, sort of professorial voices, or even the various voices like Fistidious Beaver, hooray, or the mayor in Sonic Boom.
See, there you go. That's awesome.
Just a little gift I have.
And Christina says, awesome show, Pokemon. I have a Pokemon tattoo.
That's our friend Christina from Ireland. How about give Melina's a comment there, Dean?
Let's see. She says, all my best wishes from Russia to comrades Dinos and comrades Mike.
That's coming from Russia. So she's staying up to, our show's going to Russia now, and Ireland. So
excellent.
We're uniting the world here through animation and voice acting. So
that's right.
Fantastic.
And have you gone to Ohio Comic-Cons or Pennsylvania Comic-Cons?
Haven't yet. I did a show in Pennsylvania a while back. I've not done Ohio yet. No, it's a lie. I have done Ohio. I did an in-store at Columbus once. But ask your local cons to have me. Have suitcase, will travel.
Awesome.
We have the one in Columbus. What's that one called, Dean?
Greater Columbus, Anime Columbus, and Greater Columbus Convention Center.
Yeah, that's that one. And then we have one in Pennsylvania, Monroeville, Steel City Con.
Monroeville
that would
in
be a
Steel
good
City, and then Altoona is Sci-Fi Valley Con, and sometimes in Philadelphia, like Greater Philadelphia Expo Center or something like that. You been to that one too?
I have not yet, but again, if you want me to come on by, ask for me. They'll contact my
Okay.
agents, and they will make the magic happen.
Let's talk about Ultimate Muscle, the characters in Ultimate Muscle. What series was that?
Sure, that was based on a legendary Japanese manga series, Kinnikuman, and there were two series. There was the original bunch, and then they did a sequel which turned into this anime. So I was Meat, the little tiny-sized diaper-wearing wrestling trainer for Kid Muscle, who. And one of the magical things about dubs is, for kids especially, didn't do direct translations; they did adaptations. So if you watch the manga, the main character has a very high voice, squeaky voice like this. It's voiced by a female with a very high squeaky voice. But in my version, I used a truck driver voice because that's the sound the director wanted.
And we got another comment here. Country Art 3602, Motor City Comic Con in May would be awesome. Novi, Michigan.
Well, that is a very interesting little tidbit. Who knows what the future holds, but stay tuned.
Okay.
We'll see.
I'm reading Astonishing X-Men. What were you in that?
I was Beast. One of many people honored to have worn the mantle of Beast. In the motion comic that we did, I was sort of a Kelsey Grammer Fraser-esque version of Beast.
Awesome.
And we have
Kirby right back at you.
Sure. I was again, vocal similarities notwithstanding, I was the mayor in Kirby right back at you, and I was Samo the bartender, and a bunch of various little non-recurring characters as well.
Awesome. And you wanted to read something else there, Dad?
Well, we're reading. You're in Sonic and Tails right now. That's your current with Dr. Eggman or
Sonic and Tails.
Yeah, Sonic. There's a bunch of things. There was a fan game by that name. The most current Sonic thing these days is Sonic Frontiers and Sonic and the Chaos Rumble game from now.
Hey, we got a comment here saying from Egg Emperor. He says, "Hey, Mike, we don't see you online much now. Totally understand why, and hope things have been going well for you. Love your recent work as Eggman in Crossworlds. Keep up the great work like always."
Thank you so much. Crossworlds, that's the name of it. Thank you so much. Yes, the online world's a minefield, so I'm avoiding the mines. Got to keep safe.
Awesome.
That was what's Crossroads?
I think that's a video game.
Series?
Yeah,
it's a video game.
Mobile game of some kind.
You know, when we do go to these Comic Cons, a lot of people cosplay Dr. Robotnik, right? I see him all over the place.
I've seen that one guy holding the Chaos Emerald. I think that I've seen that guy on Facebook. Yeah, I know who that guy is. I got a picture with him.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of people like to cosplay Dr. Robotnik
and Dr.
Eggman,
and Sonic characters.
Do you interact with those people when you see them at the cons and stuff? They like to get pictures and stuff, and
absolutely,
and autographs, and
if they come by, I'm happy to chat.
Sounds like fun.
And let's look at some of your other work that you've done here. Demon Fighter.
Demon Fighter Kocho, again, the first anime dub that I did, which was interesting because Michael Nicholas, lovely guy, the director, gave us VHS tapes at the time of the original Japanese anime. Made no sense, not at all helpful. He meant well, but it was much better to be able to work with the script in a studio with him, making sure that he got what he wanted as far as our performances. But still, instrumental in launching the career that such as it is.
Mm-hmm. You've also done some feature film work too. I'm looking at my notes here.
Yu-Gi-Oh,
Yu-Gi-Oh, the movie. Pyramid of Light.
Yu-Gi-Oh movie. Mm-hmm.
It's Pokemon, Pokemon.
That was a Pokemon movie?
No, it's like Pokemon.
Oh, it's like Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Trading card games and merchandise and all sorts of stuff.
And then you were in you were in Berserk, the Golden Age arc.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Miss sequel to the original.
Hokusai, am I pronouncing that right? Hokusai? Miss Hokusai?
Yeah, Hokusai. The Hokusai was a famous artist, famous for drawing waves, which you'll often see in often sushi restaurants have the examples of his, at least his style of work. So yeah, I played I believe a fireworks vendor in there, a bunch of incidental roles, but delighted to be
Awesome.
asked.
These are all feature length
Feature
movies,
films.
feature
Mhm.
length films.
In a
We've
theater
got,
near you.
We've got Liz and the Bluebird,
Mhm.
Mazinger Z, and
Infinity. Infinity.
Promar,
Nazada.
Nazada, Weathering with You.
Mhm.
Any memories of any cool stories with these movies?
The coolest thing about those, especially the theatrical ones, is going into a theater and hearing my voice coming out of the big theater speakers. That never gets old.
Oh yeah,
Watching my
yeah.
watching and listening to my performances with a bucket of popcorn, you can't
Yeah.
beat that.
Yeah, that's something, huh?
Have you seen the Sonic the Hedgehog movies with Jim Carrey?
I have not as of this moment because so far I already know I'm not in them.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
But no, I know you're not in them, but I just wanted to see if you seen if Jim Carrey made a good Dr. Eggman or Dr. Robotnik.
I haven't yet, but that wouldn't be me. That's not mine to judge. Somebody
Yeah.
cast him
Okay.
because he's the performance
that's-
they wanted,
Yeah,
and I
right.
assume that's what they got.
Okay.
So let's see. We got some more television work you did here. This is
Pokemon.
Oh, that Little Tug's Big Adventure. You told us about
You were
that.
talking about that, yeah.
Jungle Emperor Leo,
Mm-hmm.
Doctor
And
Mustache.
another
Who's Doctor Mustache? That's
Dr.
not-
Dr. Mustache. He was an explorer who went in search of this mythical lion cub. It's essentially, there's some discrepancy whether it's based on or ripped off of Kimbo the White Lion from anime fame, and it's Kimbo the White Lion. There's controversy as to whether it's ripped off by the Lion King. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not judging that, but it's a touching story. I wish more people would make an effort to see it. And Dr. Mustache, a rather dramatic turn in my series of roles, but he has a few very tender moments with a lion cub.
Awesome.
And then you were narrating the Pokemon series.
Yeah, he was the narrator in the
narrator
Pokemon.
in that
Mhm.
for the television series.
The
right?
television
Yeah.
series, yeah.
Mhm.
How was that? Tell us a little bit about those series.
That was fantastic and a great honor. One of the wonderful things about being a narrator for Pokemon, you can say stuff and have no idea what it means, but your director makes sure that you sound like you know what you're talking about.
And what's the last one right there?
Well, your recent one was Legend of the Golden Dragon.
Mhm.
How do you pronounce that name? Begins with a K.
Yeah, I'd have
Legend
to
of
see
the
it.
Golden Dragon.
Yeah, I'd have to see it in print.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
I can't remember without a reference. Just like remember recording. If we're recording a recurring character, the first few times you ask for a vocal reference because you forget what you sounded like. And they
And-
play you a little clip.
then-
That's it.
And then we're looking at the video games right now.
Mhm.
What's your favorite video game you've done as Dr. Eggman in one of the video games from like 2005 to 2025?
It's so hard to pick a favorite because that means I don't like the other ones as well. But possibly the most memorable would be Colors and Generations because right around then is when they invited me to re-audition and they rehired me, and
Awesome.
that is a tremendous compliment.
And here's some of your award. You were nominated in 2014, Best Male Vocal Performance in a Video Game
Mm-hmm.
nomination. That's good.
Sonic Lost World.
You were nominated for Best Vocal Ensemble
Mm-hmm.
in an anime movie special. It was Berserk: The Golden Age arc.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2016, you were nominated for Best Overall Twitter Presence, Dr. Eggman.
Like
Twitter
on Twitter, like the social media. Awesome.
The Twitter takeovers that we do.
And what where do you go to get these like this nomination? Is it not? It's not called the Oscars or the Emmys. What's it called? What would it be called?
It depends. There are different awards. There's a Society of Voice Artists and various other trade groups that give awards. They can be done virtually, or sometimes they get a big banquet hall, usually in the Los Angeles area. There's a big banquet, and people go up on stage and accept their awards.
Awesome.
So it's like an award. It's like kind of like you go there with your tuxedo and
Like the Annie Awards.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a big show there, and yeah, that's nice. That's well, being nominated. That's
He's got 3 nominations.
oh wow.
Wow.
It's an
Other
honor just to be
roles?
nominated, as they say.
Oh, it is. It is. People say that it's because if you don't win, that doesn't mean anything. I think if you're nominated, you're up there with the best.
That's right.
Okay.
I'll agree. Thank you.
What other video games are you currently working on? Anything in the future here coming up that you're working on?
The thing about our business is anything in the future is under non-disclosure agreement. So if I knew, I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
But yeah, there's stuff, and there's stuff that's already out. There's a Jungle Book series that I'm in, which is available on YouTube. There's Caillou from 2017, the reboot, which is also on YouTube. So yeah, there's stuff in progress. But again, if it's not released, I can't tell you.
And Youngstown Studio says he may have answered this, but did Mike play? And was he a fan of the original Sonic video game for the Sega Genesis when it came out?
I'm not a gamer in that sense. I'm much better at being in the games than playing the games. I don't have the patience and coordination to play games the way gamers do, which is fantastic. So no, I was aware that the game systems existed, but we had Pong in our house when it first came out. That was about it. And my video game prowess was in the arcade at the mall. There was a game called Trivia Whiz, and I like trivia. And the reason I got so good is there was a finite series of multiple choice questions. So eventually I played long enough that I memorized all the answers. So when the questions came up again, I knew those answers and I got to the top of the leaderboard. Possibly, one might call it a cheating scandal. I disagree.
Let's read some of the comments that our Facebook people have for Mike here.
Melina says Mike Pollock deserves more nominations.
That's from our friend Melina.
And Haley says, I'm more of a video game watcher than a player.
Okay, that's
also valid.
Let's see. Christina, Mike deserves more recognition and awards.
Thank you.
Legend.
She also says you deserve a...
you deserve a... let me see if I can find that. Here it is. Fantastic voice actor. Mike should definitely have an Oscar and a Hollywood Walk of Fame star.
Very
You're impressing all our fans here, Mike.
I'm blushing. It's hard to tell in this light, but
well,
I'm
a lot of them are saying your voice. You have a great voice for what you do. Can you give us some of Dr. Robotnik? Maybe what should we have him say? Dino, like
I was going to say
how bad the weather is around here. Maybe I don't know. It's something.
I was going to have him say from that one line from the Beatles, I am the walrus. I am the Eggman. They are the Eggman. I am the walrus.
They are the Eggman. I am the walrus. Look you.
Oh, that's perfect.
That was good.
That's
perfect. Dr. Eggman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
And what did you wanted him to say in a
Oh no, that was good. That was good. I just wanted him to do Dr. Eggman. That's the voice he does.
Yeah, that's perfect.
But let's see. We have any more? Let's see.
Christina says, "Best wishes from Ireland."
Okay, she's sending love from Ireland there.
Back at you.
And Haley says, "Ha ha ha, cool, real cool."
Thank you very much, Haley.
And how about some of your what does Mike do for relaxation, fun? Do you have any hobbies besides? I know gaming and stuff like that. You're not into gaming, but what are some of the things that you do in New York?
Sure, my wife and I love show tunes. And the show tunes we like usually come from British radio stations that you're not supposed to be able to get legally, but a little loophole here and there. And what I do is I will take the shows and record them, chop them up so that they're nice and properly edited, much the way this podcast will be, I'm sure, when it's done. And I turn them into little private podcasts for ourselves. So basically, it's like listening to radio on demand for radio that's not meant to be on demand.
Awesome.
That's nice.
Hey, we got John W. Knowles on YouTube here. He says, "Hello, Dino Dino. It's John from the UK here. Awesome show," he says.
We got the UK on now. We got Ireland, the United Kingdom, Russia, Delaware.
What else?
I don't know. We got the whole world.
Cassandra from California.
Oh, Cassandra's listening from California.
And she says, voice actors in video games should get more credit.
I agree.
I think so too. When you see, when you watch, like you said, when you were watching Bullwinkle and Rocky, those people,
Like June Foray and
June Foray,
Mel Blanc and
Yeah.
what was the other guy's name?
There's Bill Scott and Paul Frees, who are the
Bill
other.
Scott and Paul Frees. Yeah.
they, people kind of ignored, they didn't pay no attention back in those early days of cartoons like the Flintstones and
Mhm.
Looney Tunes with Bugs Bunny and all that.
Mhm.
They enjoyed the cartoon, but the voice actors were the ones that really put the the fun into that, don't you think, Mike? Or
Oh, absolutely.
uh-huh.
We are actors. I love to point out the distinction isn't really a distinction. Just because you can't see me doesn't mean I'm not an actor. So I tend not to use the voice actor qualifier whenever possible. We are
Right.
actors. I work on stage. When I'm on stage,
Mhm.
am I just a voice actor? I'm an actor. So just because you can't see me doesn't mean I'm not just an actor. So yeah, we are just as qualified as any other actor, but we choose to focus on the audio medium.
Awesome.
Yeah, because when you would see the credits, at the end of the cartoon or video game, people don't pay attention to that. They watch the cartoon or the game, and they just move on to, let's play the next game
Or
or
play
let's
the
watch
next
the
game,
next
yeah.
cartoon.
Mhm.
And you guys don't get the credit. Like Haley, who said it? You deserve.
Yeah, Cassandra said
Cassandra says, yeah, you should get more credit. I agree with that too.
that. Right, buddy?
And with cartoon, maybe you could answer this. When you do cartoons
Or video games.
or video games, well, what do they draw the cartoon first, or do they do the voice first? Do you know how that works?
Depends on the cartoon. If it's a prelay animation, they write the script, we record the script, they animate to our voices from that recording. If it's a dub, or at least the way it's done in Japan, especially with anime, in Japan they do it in real time. The cartoons have been done, and they will stand together in a group and essentially give voice as the cartoon is playing, and then they record that. I would find that impossible and nerve-wracking. For dubs, if the final production has already been done and it's done in whatever language you hear it first, we will then come in and do what's called ADR, automatic dialogue replacement, which is not so automatic. But we will go in and line by line replace each line with the line in the language of choice, and that's done in countless languages around the world.
Awesome.
In animation, are you a fan? With this Pixar, like Toy Story, or do you like the old drawing,
The old animation.
like Pinocchio, Snow White, those kind of things? What's your?
Depends on the day. I enjoy the art form. I actually am more interested in the vocal performances. So the animation, lovely as it is, to me, it's usually a little secondary to hearing the vocal performances, because that's what I do. So yeah, I appreciate the technology and the hyper realism of today's CGI, but there is still a place for hand-drawn animation, and I appreciate the artistry and the painstaking nature that went into that. Not that CGI doesn't have its own little bits of painstaking,
Mhm.
where there's millions of hairs on a character and someone is making sure that those hairs are all acting properly and responding to the way the wind is blowing. So I appreciate the artwork of the genre and how it all comes together.
Awesome. And we also another Youngstown Studio question. Does Mike do anything special to keep his voice in shape? Has he found out that his voice has changed over all the years?
I'm not only aging, but I am screaming my brains out for a living. So that gets a little stressful. So I'm a little scratchy today because there's been screaming.
Okay.
I have an ear, nose, throat doctor that I see as often as needed, wellness checks as well as acute visits. And he'll put in a laryngoscope, and stuff a fiber optic tube and camera down my throat, take pictures. I recently saw some fascinating video of my vocal folds and how well they're working. Fascinating. But in general, hydration is good, warm-ups are good, and vocal rest in between the screaming.
Awesome. And John W. Knowles says, the golden era of Disney is my favorite, such as The Jungle Book, The Lion King, and so on. I love traditional animation methods over 3D animation.
That's valid.
What should we give him some trivia? Maybe he could recognize some of these voices.
Yeah, you want to try that?
Like,
Okay, go ahead.
go on.
Sure.
Do you remember
Popeye.
Popeye the Sailor Man?
Of
Yeah.
course, Jack
Yeah, the
Mercer.
voice.
And
of
do you know who the voice is of Olive
Jack
Oil?
Yes, it wasn't B. Benedera. Mae Questel.
Correct.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Man,
that's-
wasn't she? Didn't she? Oh, how about
she also did Betty Boop as well.
was she the one on Christmas Vacation?
One on Christmas Vacation.
The lady on, is that right?
Mae
Mike?
Questel.
Yep.
What was
And
her
she was
character?
Aunt
Aunt Bethany.
Bluebell in some detergent commercial.
Yeah, Aunt Bethany in Christmas Vacation was the voice of Olive Oil
And Betty Boop.
And Betty Boop.
And she also did her voice in Who Framed Roger Rabbit as well.
Who Framed Roger
Legendary.
Rabbit?
Yeah, she voiced Betty Boop in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Okay.
And Cassandra says, my favorite animated movie is Cinderella and the Little Mermaid and Aladdin.
Classics.
Well, Christina's got some advice for your voice, Mike, here from Ireland.
A nice Guinness is great for voice care.
Yeah, I will occasionally have a nice Guinness, so
Yeah,
I'll go with that.
What nationality are you, Mike?
Polish and Russian most recently, but technically Ashkenazi Jewish. So I
okay.
go all the way back to the Middle East.
Good. Well, a nice Guinness would be good for us all, right? I can enjoy a nice Guinness right now myself.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it helps the vocal cord.
Helps the vocal cords, right, buddy?
Who else is another voice actor?
Another voice actor? I have to Google it. Do you know any most old voice actors that you might know?
Well, not personally, but I know the names because unlike people who ignore the credits, when I was a kid, I would pay attention to the credits.
Awesome.
And I had the
know
Encyclopedia of Animated Cartoons, I think, at the time, which has all that.
Well, we're from Youngstown. Jim Cummings was born in Youngstown.
Sure.
I don't know if you knew that. And
he was the original Dr. Eggman. I mean, Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah, and we're trying to get him on our show in the coming months. We're trying to get. Here's some of the people that we've had on our show.
Oh, we got a question here. This Matthew says, have you seen the fan-made content based off of your voice work?
I have. People are very creative. It runs into some possible legal copyright questions, but we won't discuss those right now.
Okay.
We had who's the directors that we've had on here?
The directors,
from Disney.
Chris Bailey.
Are you familiar with Chris Bailey?
I've heard the name.
Yeah.
Jerry Reese.
Jerry Reese from the
Brave Little Toaster.
The Brave Little Toaster. You remember that film?
Awesome.
Randy Rogel.
He writes the music for Animaniacs.
Rob Paulson's been on our.
Awesome.
And who's the one that did the Runaway Brain?
That was Chris Bailey.
Chris Bailey, right? Yeah, he worked for Disney and Warner Brothers. We've done them too. Well, let's ask Mike another question. Do you have any questions up there, Dean? From
let's see. I don't. Does anybody else have a question for Mike? Let me know in the comments. I'll get it on for you guys.
So, like you were saying, Mike, nothing in the future coming up.
Nothing publicly.
You have to wait to pending.
Yeah, once it's out, because anything to be released is to be released by the producers, or if I get special permission, which so far I've not gotten special permission.
And going over to our radio station, Golden String Radio, we play. We're mostly
we play music.
We play music, but we're mostly like to play the oldies, rock and roll stuff. I know you said you like show tunes, but you said you grew up in the 70s like I did. What were some of your favorite rock and roll artists growing up?
So I'm probably even back in the 70s, I was listening to oldie stuff. So old 50s doo-wop stuff and some classic 60s tracks, Beatles, of course. But also novelty stuff. Alan Sherman, Tom Lehrer, some of the classic novelty acts were I appreciate clever, and those are clever.
Yeah, Alan Sherman. He did some parodies on the Beatles.
And he did that
Mhm.
parody, that Beatles song.
Yeah,
What
Pop
was it
hates the
called?
Beatles. Pop hates the Beatles.
yeah.
As
Pop
you mean,
hates.
Pop
Yeah,
kills the weasel.
yeah. That was.
Haley has another question. What cartoons did you grow up with other than Rocky and Bullwinkle?
Let's see. There was, of course, all the Looney Tunes, Merry Melodies combination.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, sort of the Hanna-Barbera stuff, but that was probably a little. We had different levels of sophistication, so I was probably not watching Hanna-Barbera quite as much. I was aware that they existed, but I would tune in long enough to say, "Okay, well, that was fun. What else is there that might challenge my brain a little bit more?"
Did you like
Um,
Johnny Quest? Johnny Quest was a good cartoon series. Remember Johnny
yeah,
Quest?
yeah, not big on the adventure type stuff. I
Mhm.
was looking for clever comedy, so definitely the Bugs Bunnies and Rocky and Bullwinkles of the world.
And let's see. Cassandra says, "What's it your favorite video game to voice in?" And she also says, "Looking at advice you would give a person who wants to voice in a video game."
Sure. The best answer I can give to what my favorite is always going to be the next one. I'm
Yeah,
always looking forward to the next challenge.
yeah.
But if you want to be in the voiceover world, be an actor first. Find community theater and school theater and learn to work on stage with other people. Because when you're eventually stuck in a booth all by yourself, acting with nobody else, you've got to be able to imagine in your head. That's redundant. You've got to be able to imagine what other voices are going to sound like and what you're responding to. Because acting is all about reacting. So you've got to be able to anticipate and fill in the blanks of what the other actors will be. If you're recording a dub, we are layered in as we come in and record. So sometimes the person you're interacting with will have already recorded and you can interact with their recording, or sometimes they haven't. And that's when you got to kind of say, well, how would they have said this so I can respond correctly?
And this person says, "Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Do you have any characters in the Sonic the Hedgehog besides Eggman? Voice
Sure.
any character."
Well, most people may not be aware that on Sonic X, I was also Ella the Maid. That's a bit of a footnote to trivia right now. And in Sonic Boom, I was the mayor, the fastidious beaver. Uh, who's the third guy? I want to say Boots, and that's probably not right, but I don't remember. Yeah, but he was like a 3-episode character arc of the other character.
He says, "You
Um,
were Ella the maid?"
I was Ella the Maid. That's right.
See, he knows that. Yeah.
Awesome. And let's
Most
see.
people don't know that, which is the fact that
Your
people
time
don't
in
know
the
that
industry
means I
there, right
probably
there.
was doing a good job. I don't know.
Your time in the industry there, Dave.
John W. Knowles says, "In your time in the industry, you most likely have worked with many great, talented individuals, such as actors," and that's what he said.
Well, he probably wanted to know some of the talented people you've worked with.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, of course, the Sonic cast that I've already mentioned. Most of the time, I'm working separately, so I'm in a booth all by myself. So while I am co-starring in productions with people whose names you must know. The only time I really see them these days is at convention appearances, because recording sessions are kind of booked up like a doctor's office. I've got an appointment here, someone else's appointment before, someone else has an appointment after. I may see people as we come and go, but generally we are recording separately.
And Matthew says, "If you could pick your dream voice role, what would it be?"
Something big and theatrical, a Disney thing or a Pixar thing.
Okay. And Haley says, "I remember Eggman having a crush with Ella."
Mm-hmm. That was an interesting little character arc as well.
And Country Art 3602 says, "Did your parents' family encourage your voice acting? Were they your number one cheerleaders? Thanks for an awesome interview." Country Art in Michigan.
Sure, they sent me to weekend theater classes when I was a kid. I spent a summer at a theater camp. So yeah, acting seemed to be a good choice for them. And then they were there when I started in radio and made the transition.
We're lucky here in Youngstown to have a theater, Youngstown Playhouse. It's been here
Excellent.
over 100 years.
Over 100 years
I
ago.
mean, it's
Fantastic.
going strong. I mean, you would think, Youngstown got kind of a depressed time over the years through the steel mill. We're a steel mill town back in the day, but the theater thrived. I mean, it stayed here and never went away, and they celebrated their 100th, and I think it's this year or last year.
Last year.
100 years of community theater. This is like what you're saying to do.
Mhm.
People should do that. It gets them into the acting roles so they can pursue maybe voice acting or whatever, animation, or even behind the scenes stuff too.
By all means, community theater is a great resource. So
Mhm.
I wish
And,
them the best.
And this person says, has Mike come on to make an announcement reference from the meme?
I have not. That would get me in big trouble.
What's the meme? What is the meme?
My dad wants to know what meme means.
What does that mean?
What does it
I
mean?
don't know what that means.
There's a fan-made animation, or animation is a strong word.
Oh,
A
okay.
fan-made voiceover thing that's chock full of profanity.
Oh,
That's
okay.
gained its
Yeah.
own little bit of traction, but
Okay.
I must distance myself from that.
Yeah, I'm kind of a lot of these things I'm not familiar with. Some of this
You're not missing anything.
computer stuff, you know. But anyways,
That's okay.
do you collect Sonic stuff, Eggman, or like figurines or comic books, anything, video games? Do you have a
It's not
collection?
it's not a very well organized collection, but yes, I've got a whole bunch of stuff that I should probably find some shelf space for.
Awesome. Like, do you have like is there a big Chaos Emerald you collect or something?
I might even have one handy. I've gotten some at conventions. Some people have gifted me with Chaos Emeralds, which is very
Awesome.
generous. But then there's some that are included with other little toys. So I have them around here somewhere. But again,
Awesome.
the place
Let's-
has just been cleaned up. I don't know where anything is.
Let's send Christina's message to Mike.
You want me to click on her message?
Yeah, she's sending. This is our friend Christina from Ireland.
Oh, she's just saying awesome show.
Yeah.
Okay. Christina says, another awesome show. Sending best wishes from Ireland. Legend Mike. Have a great day. Stay safe. Great work, Dinos. Get home safe. See you Thursday.
Yeah.
Thank you, Christina.
That's when we do our radio show every Thursday at Golden String.
And this person says, topic. Can you give us a line from any game or show you were in, Eggman, as in the voice?
I hate that hedgehog.
I love that.
Yeah, you like that?
You sound like also like John. What was that other guy's name? John Long Baldry from the anime.
Baldry.
Yeah, he John Long Baldry. He was the first.
Eggman?
No, he was first on the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, okay.
Then Jim Cummings, and then Mike Pollock came on.
Okay. You said you like show tunes? What about movies? Have you seen any of these things like Zootopia 2? Or the SpongeBob movies, which are animation and voices and stuff?
I haven't yet, but the most recent show tune musical I've seen was the Wicked series.
The Wicked.
Oh, Wicked! Are you a
Yeah.
fan of that?
It was nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a good show.
He's a fan of Wicked.
I
movies.
still like Margaret Hamilton from the original. She's the best
Of course.
witch, right?
Mhm.
Don't you think?
Margaret
She
Hamilton.
was a classic.
You know, the thing about her role in that movie.
She didn't win an Oscar.
Well, yeah, she should have got something. But anyways, if you look at her screen time in that movie, it's not very long.
How long is she in?
I think they said like 13 minutes.
13 minutes or
you add up
something.
her, but it was so. What do you call it?
What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, she gave
Iconic.
iconic, but
Iconic.
gave a really impression
Memorable.
of people. Memorable,
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
How about this one here, Dean? This question here.
How would Eggman survive Stranger Things?
I would hesitate to speculate. That's a question for the writers. That's
Mhm.
above my pay grade.
Hmm.
Well, Mike, we're getting to the top of the hour here, and before we go, we want
And,
to talk.
and,
Wait, we got another question here from
It's
Haley.
been great getting to know you more, Mike. Thanks so much for coming on.
That's
Yeah,
And
right.
Melina
appreciate that.
says, wonderful show, Comrade Dinos. Nice to meet you, Mike Pollock.
Thank you, Melina. Appreciate it.
And let's see, awesome podcast. And Haley says, I would had loved to know Margaret Hamilton's thought about Wicked.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But Mike, we want to thank you for taking time to come on our show. You know, we're just a local show here in Youngstown, Ohio, But like you said, that's how you get started. You have to start somewhere, right? You
Absolutely.
started in radio or
And-
theater,
Mhm.
and so that's kind of what we do. And we're kind of a local station here. And can you give us a grade, maybe how we did?
Sure. I'm going to say I'll give it an A.
There we go. There we go.
And,
Thank you.
5
Yeah.
stars.
And this person says, thanks for being here, legend.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
And welcome to the Youngstown Studio audience, says Cassandra.
And if you want to tune into our show on Gold, it's called
GoldenStringRadio.org.
www.goldenstringradio.org.
Go on the website and click on Listen
And
Now.
you can listen to us and
on the internet radio show.
and we'll play some show tunes, maybe Till There Was You, right?
That's right.
You know that tune?
Yep, that qualifies.
That's a
That
show
works.
tune, right? The
Mhm.
Beatles did that. They covered
Yeah.
that one, though.
Egg
Absolutely.
Emperor says, great seeing you.
The Egg
Thanks so
Emperor,
much.
right? But Mike, thank you. We want to thank you again for taking the time and giving us an hour of your time.
A
Do you have
pleasure.
anything to
Thank
say to
you.
Mike before we go?
I would like to say, Mike, I hope I meet you sometime at a Comic-Con and we'll still communicate on Facebook. And
Please.
nice to meet you in person online. And thanks for tuning in to the Youngstown Studio for the Dino and Dino podcast, Youngstown Studio Show.
Yeah, we hope we
Absolutely,
don't send, we hope we don't send any of our cold weather up to New York. It's freezing down here.
We'll deal with it as best we can.
Okay. Mike, thank you. Stay healthy with you and your family. And
Thanks so much.
hope to see you, like Dino said, we hope we see you at a con.
Yes,
Maybe
we
That's a
will.
good word for me. The best
Okay.
they can do is invite me.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Good
God
night,
bless you.
everybody.
Thank you.
See you
Bye-bye.
Thursday.
Bye, everybody.
Don't
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe